If something is nuts and mad and nobody's hurt, it's what my father used to call a laughable farce. A laughable farce, and he called it a laughable farce. You know, I done a video there kind of thing on Tommy Cooper. And he said just like that and all that. Some people didn't like him, but it was a laugh anyway. And I have a sense of humour. What I'm going to tell you now is definitely the strangest damn thing I ever heard. The weirdest thing. And I want to tell it to you from my own knowledge without too much investigation so that I can do it in a natural way. And I want to see if you can stop laughing. See, can you keep a straight face right through this video I'm making for you now? See, can you keep a straight face? you probably won't. Anyway, I know the end of it. That's why I'm laughing myself. You know what a post office is? Generally in Ireland and England, in Britain and Scotland and Wales, a post office is a post office. And they're in America much the same. They used to be a big building, but now they're usually part of a convenience store. And there's always a couple of women working there, usually, mostly women, some men in the bigger ones. And they're all very efficient, and so you have to crack with them and bid the time of day and the weather and all this. And everyone has to use one, and I don't mind a stamp or something. I was in one today getting a stamp. And funny enough, when I say that, the one I was in Carrickmacross, and I wanted to order a checkbook. This is today now, earlier on, that would be the 10th of January. I went up to the Bank of Ireland to order a checkbook, and there was a big notice on the door. Now, this is just, I digress a little here, saying this bank is closed due to an ESB blackout or an ESB cut. And the hole in the wall, the ATM, had a similar notice. This ATM is stopped or blocked or not working, out of service because of an ESB power cut. And I had to go back down to the post office, and I asked the lady, and she saw no power cut. Weird type of thing. I'm only telling it to you as a byproduct. But anyway, what happens with post offices is on post in the south of Ireland, in the Republic, and the post office in England, I'm sure it's the same in Australia and France too. Some of them work as kind of half banks now at the moment as well. You can put money in the bank through them and all that. But anyway, the post office gets a viaticum of money. They get a lump of money there in the post office, and the parent company on post, or the post office, figures out what they have to get to pay out in payments for social welfare, children's allowances, and all of that sort of stuff. You know yourself. And you can go in and pay different bills in it and all that. I can pay the internet bill there. So anyway, the postmistress, if it's a woman or if it's a couple or a postmaster or whatever, he pays out, and if there's a shortfall, generally speaking, he has to put it in from his own resources. But usually a shortfall would only be maybe €1, £1 or something. Somebody made a small mistake. That's kind of part of their contract. But then on the other hand, they get paid. They get a wee earner. And that's the way it has worked from time immemorial. But recently, or some time back, the British government brought in a software system, some company, to do this, so that the money issued out to the post offices was already figured out on a wonderful computer. Oh, great job altogether. And it had it precisely. But anyway, life being what it is, it got it wrong. That itself is not that funny, really. But I don't know that it paid any too much, but it paid many of them too little. And some of the postmistresses and postmasters began to notice this, that they were putting in their own money into it. this went on all over England, Wales, I think Scotland, and definitely Northern Ireland, which is politically part of the United Kingdom. And because the post office got a bit, what's going on here? We've been robbed. It seems that the software, and this is only guessing, was holding back some money. Whether somebody in the company was putting it in their pocket or not, I don't know. It was holding back some money, and the post people were short changed. And faced with this, they don't appear to have ever counted up. And I always said, when people compliment me for being a clever man, the only thing I'm good at is counting. I'm good at counting, I am, and I can assess. I can count generally very, very accurately without going through the figures at all. Maybe it's just a wee gift, put like that. But nobody seems to have counted up and said, "Here, look, I'm after getting 16,000. I should have got 1,750 or 17,500." Or nobody else said, "I got 42,000 last week. I should have got 45." Well, this is why it gets very funny. But what's the next thing that happened? The post office called in the police. My hands is a bit dirty, folks. I'm working on a very greasy, oily, sooty job, and I can't get it off easily. The post office called in the police, also known as the Old Bill, also known as the police, and in the Republic of Ireland, the Garda Síochána. Now, it must be said the Republic of Ireland had nothing to do with this. The Irish police force had nothing to do with it. This is Northern Ireland, the police service of Northern Ireland, and the police in the UK. I guess they looked at it and God, to continue. Yes, it's a bit of a rip-off here. What's going on here? Remind you of Postman Pat. What's going on here? But the old fellow on the road, he says, you know that Postman Pat thing. But anyway, what happened next? Didn't the Crown Prosecution Service prosecute a heap of the postmasters and postmistresses? I don't know how many, but a good few, for theft. For theft. Weird. Now, maybe when they did their counting up and their audit, some of the postmasters or postmistresses were robbing. I don't know. It's rare for a postmaster or postmistress to be caught with their hands in the till. Very rare. Because balancing everything up is a big part of their job. In fact, it goes to say it's almost sure that not one of them was thieving at all. But God, do you know the next thing? They were convicted in the court. Now, let me tell you on law, theft is an indictable offence. It's a felony. And one charged with theft can have the following options. So suppose I go in and I steal a box of chocolates or a bottle of whiskey out of the supermarket, or more likely a box of Felix cat food for the pussy, and I'm caught. I get the option, it'll be brought to the district court first. There, the state can decide to have it dealt with by the district court. It can decide to have it dealt with in the district court either on a plea of guilty only. If that's not available, it goes to the circuit court, or on whatever the judge decides. So the judge may say to me, you are entitled to a judge or jury trial. What do you want? And you can say, I want to be tried by this court. How do you plead guilty if you're guilty? That solves all, it's all over. There's no need for a trial if you plead guilty. On the other hand, you can say, I'll be tried by this court, but I'll plead not guilty, in which case the judge of the district court will act as the judge and jury. That's only for minor things, relatively minor, right? It's to stop every little theft and thing going all up with a judge and jury. Give you the option of that. And you're right. But if I were charged with stealing a box of Felix cat food, which might be worth €8, I might say I didn't steal it at all. I paid for it. Well, I went up and I paid for it. Have you a receipt? Well, I didn't keep the receipt, or I did. Sure, the girl was there. I remember her taking it. I had €20. The thing was 8, and she gave me back 12. There was 2 people behind me. Well, if that's the case, I would not allow that case to be dealt with in the district court. Well, I might want it over with, and I might say, Judge, this is what happened, and hope the judge would hear it. If the judge convicts me, I can appeal to the circuit court, but not with a judge and jury. You can appeal the facts of the case. So once you agree to the district court dealing with it, you are denied a jury after that. So in the circumstances where I'd be falsely accused, I would say I want a full judge and jury trial, and the state would almost certainly back down. And if they swore in a jury in a month's time or 2 months' time, I would say, this is what happened. I deal in that shop every day. I didn't forget to pay. I didn't make a mistake. I paid. Unfortunately, I didn't bother keeping the receipt. I don't be able to keep thousands of receipts, which is true with me. And it was a lady there, the scriber, and all right, and she stood up, she didn't pay me. Well, I said, I did pay you. And do you remember everyone that paid you? And you'd go through all of this. And so at the end of that, the jury of 12 people would decide. And if they can't decide, 10 would do. But at least you'd have it got through the whole system. In this case, we don't know where they were convicted. It's the same in England. It's a magistrate's court and a crown court and all that. It's the same as here in the Republic of Ireland. But nobody appears to have fought these. Now, I'm open to contradiction, and please feel free to comment here below, and if you have more on it out of the papers or anything else, belt away there. I don't mind, whoever you are. How were multiple post mistresses convicted of theft that never happened? Isn't that the weirdest, the damn weirdest thing you ever heard? I see tonight on the news there that the British government has set up some inquiry or something with the view of revoking or quashing all these convictions, which are a criminal record. If that postmistress was 21 years of age and applied for a passport to many countries, including the United States, the fact that she has a conviction for theft might mean she'd be refused. Is that not the weirdest thing? Have I entertained you with this? It's a mad, mad world. We'll let you know what happens. I'm only after discovering this today. But one of the things about my campaigning and all that is we're dealing with a mad government, mad as hatters. We're dealing with mad wars. We had a First World War which killed a distant relative of mine fighting for an Archduke Ferdinand. Archfeckin' Duke, it's bloody Duke. The hell ever heard of him? He was at least 800, 900 miles from here, if not 1,200. We're going over to fight for the Archduke. It's in a wood inside the bog, getting worked up over that. Huh? Not many million were killed over an archduke. And some illiterate people called them ducks. In fact, in the film The Unforgiven, the sheriff calls the duke a duck. That was common. But duke is not duke. Juke is duke. And just to digress again, you know I'll not go this. I'll not tell that one. I'll tell that this one another time. But the thing about it is, folks, isn't that mad? They must have pleaded guilty. How did several courts convict very honourable profession postmasters and postmistresses of theft, when in fact what happened was the computer system got it wrong? Isn't that the maddest thing? It's mad. It's totally and utterly mad. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'll see you back for something else.